right, sweet. Flatline MMA podcast episode number 60. Kev, what a year. We got another year of MMA in the books. Thank you for everyone who's been following us since day one. We've grown so much this year, and I'm just so excited to see where this brand has gone. My favorite episode of the year, the 2020 Flatlined Awards. And what a better year to kind of do this with everything that's happened in the UFC and in MMA in general. The sport shut down for, a couple months. It was the first sport to come back. Dana White was able to put on just great shows week in and week out. So it's just been such a great year. So I just want to get right into it, man. We have a bunch of categories here, but let's get into kind of the bread and butter here. Let's start off with the KO of the year, right? You could start off. I don't know how many, we did not talk about this beforehand. I don't know how many of these are the same. I don't know how many are different, but Kev, start off, give us your KO of the year and then tell us why.
Yeah, so I had two that I was going back and forth between. The first one being probably the most recent knockout, Kevin Holland versus Jacare Souza, knocking out, getting a knockout off his back, which is crazy. I don't think we've ever. Closest thing we've probably seen to that is Nico Price, but again, that was another crazy one. And then Joaquin Buckley with his, spinning kick. And I'm going to go with Buckley. I think just for the sole reason that I don't think anyone has ever even attempted the kick that he did. I mean, what's his name? Who is he fighting in that one?
That was Impa Kesanagne.
Yeah.
Said that wrong.
Caught the kick. Joaquin jumps up, spins around, kicks him right in the face, knocks him out cold. I just think with how much creativity went into that one, I think that one wins it.
Yeah, I mean, not too much to say there. You kind of took everything from me. That's my pick as well. The reason why I was leaning more towards Holland at the beginning, because Kevin Holland knocked out Joaquin Buckley. So to my eyes, it's he deserves that recognition as well. He knocked out the guy that potentially has the KO of the year. But I agree with you, man. I don't know if we're ever going to see anything that crazy again. And it was such a fluid motion. It was like he knew that was going to happen when he caught that leg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just he said it was something he practiced. I don't believe that at all, because I don't think you ever practiced that. But I mean, he wins KO of the year for me. Obviously, it's just super impressive. It was SportsCenter top 10 for a friggin' month. It had the whole MMA world just flipped upside down. It was just unreal. And I think what's different than Kevin Holland's is that, Impa was out. When that shot hit him in the jaw, he was out. Kevin Holland's was a little bit like it dazed Jacare, and then he hit him with 4 more shots, which is a lot deadlier. But Impa was stiffened like a board, and it was scary to see. So on the scariness scale and on just impressive scale, you got to give that to Joaquin Buckley. So Joaquin Buckley, congrats, KO of the year. And I'm pretty sure that was the UFC's KO of the year as well. So we're aligned there. Submission of the year. I'll start off with this one. This might be one that people, it might not even be in the running for some people, but for me, I had to give it to him for the circumstances, for the way he did it, for just how impressive it was. I'm going to go. I don't know if you're going to pick this one too. I got Khabib submitting Justin Gaethje. I think it was the way that he set it up and the way that he stood on the feet with Gaethje with no fear, and then was like, okay, I'm going to take this to the ground now. And then I think a lot of people were wondering, how's Gaethje's ground game? How is he going to be against another wrestler? Gaethje's, a Division I wrestler, right? Can he hang? And I think Khabib just shut down all the haters and people saying that he's going to get knocked out. And he just, to me, he did it with ease. So I'm going to go Khabib with the submission of the year. And I guess the whole build up to it, his father, everything led to that moment. So I just thought it was just a nasty, whenever you put someone out like that to me, that's just nasty. There's so many other good ones this year, but I think because it was Khabib, the moment, and then he retired after, I think that's kind of what won my heart. But I'm curious as to what you picked.
Yeah, I picked the same one as being the best submission of the year. So some of the runner-ups though that I had were Dern, Mackenzie Dern had a couple.
Mm-hmm.
She had a really nice armbar versus Marcos, which I believe was this year. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if it was 2019. I'm not sure, but she did have another one. She had a knee bar, which was
Knee
pretty
bar,
sick.
yes, yes.
Um, and the only other one that comes to mind, and I think because it was so recent, was Chase Hooper. He losing the entire fight, and he ended up
Mhm.
getting a heel hook at the very end. And the way he set it up, the way he stayed patient, and the way he kind of kept that will to win throughout the entire fight, I thought that was pretty impressive, and I thought that was pretty cool for him to get the win that way. But I agree with you for all the same reasons. Khabib versus Gaethje, that triangle choke, that was submission of the year for me.
Yeah, and like you said, there was, you just named off 4 or 5 just amazing submissions. And to me, I have a question for you. What do you think is more impressive in MMA? Do you think that a KO or do you think a submission is more impressive or harder to get? Like, what would you say? It's a tough question when you think about it. I was thinking about it today.
Yeah, yeah, because I think I don't know. I'm just gonna take a guess. I'm gonna say submissions because you can't really fall into a submission. There is some work to set it up. You have to either get a takedown, pull guard, and then you got to shift their weight around and do some other things. There are some times where there's just knockouts that just kind of happen because of good timing um, and some good luck. But that's not to say that all of them are like that. Some of the high level strikers, they set up their shots. They know exactly what they're doing. But I think when it comes to submissions, you don't just get lucky with one. I think you have to set it up and really know what you're doing, especially with the gloves too in MMA. Having those gloves, and I think it just makes it so much harder to lock up some of the submissions that you could get. So, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and then you got to think some of these say it's a 3-round fight. Some of these like round 3 or like insane the championship rounds round 4 and 5 when you're sweaty, you're bloody. Like to be able to like get a choke in like that, like they say it all the time. Like people are constantly just like squeezing out of there, and it's like I can't imagine like in the 5th round having enough strength to submit someone or like you know
Yeah,
what I mean. So I agree with you too. I think definitely think it's a little bit harder. We've seen so many crazy submissions over the years. We've seen so many ridiculous KOs. So, and to be able to find fighters that do that constantly, you look at a guy like Khabib, he's just constantly finishing his opponents. A guy like Connor, right? Like you got these high level guys that can kind of do it all. So, I'm so excited. 2020 brought us a shit ton of good KOs, a shit ton of awesome submissions, and I think from just the fights booked in the first half of the goddamn year in 2021, I think we're in store for a lot more of those. So I'm so excited about that. Let's move on to fight of the year. I think there was 3 or 4 just consensus in here that were like, okay, these are on the list 100%. Let's just go through them real quick. We had Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker. We had Brandon Moreno taking on Davison Figueiredo, which was pretty recent.
mm-hmm.
We had Weili Zhang taking on Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and then we had Josh Emmett and Shane Burgos, correct?
Yeah. The only other one that I would think of considering, I wouldn't. I would say it's in the top 5. It probably takes the 5th spot. Um, is Frankie Edgar going down to 135 and taking on Munoz?
Yes.
I thought it was a pretty good fight, but I don't think it takes fight of the year compared to some of those other fights you listed.
Yeah, I did forget about that one. What a performance he put on, but also like what a performance by Munoz too. Like they were slugging. I felt like the old Frankie Edgar was in there. Like that was such
Yeah.
an underrated fight. But I agree, there was so many other good fights that one kind of tends to be whether that be 5 or like out of the top 5. So Kev, you're up out of all those ones that were said. So many good ones to choose from. Like, which one are you leaning towards and which one's the winner here?
Yeah, so the only thing I got against with the Emmett Smith Burgos fight and the Poirier Hooker fight is that you could kind of see who was winning the entire fight. It wasn't, not to say that there was some good back and forth, but there was definitely a clear, leader in all of the action throughout each of the rounds. And by the end of the fight, you kind of, I mean, when it's left up to the judges, you don't know how it's going to go. But I think most people watching those two fights had a good idea that Emmett Smith was going to win his fight and Poirier was going to win that fight. But picking between the Figueiredo Moreno fight and Joanna Weili Zhang fight, I had a really hard time picking between the two because not only were they great fights, but they did so much for their divisions as well. Like the flyweight, that has kind of become a forgotten division with Mighty Mouse and Cejudo leaving, and that fight just put them right back on the map. And the same thing with the Joanna Zhang fight. I don't think we've ever seen a war like that in women's MMA ever. So I think for that reason, I'm going to go with the Joanna Zhang fight because I think that's going to go down in history as like one of the best female MMA fights ever.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this one was between those two, Moreno Figueiredo and then Weili Joanna. The reason I didn't give it to Moreno and Figueiredo was honestly because of the nut shot. I think that although rounds 3, 4, and rounds rest around 3, 4, and 5 were amazing. I think that fight kind of lost a little luster after that because it was like, oh God, like he was down for a while. And I was worried that fight was going to get called. And it kind of takes away a little bit. Trust me, the rest of the fight was amazing, but everything you said is so true. I don't think we'll ever see a women's fight like that again. I really believe, Joanna's face, like it was just one of the craziest things I've ever seen. And there was not even a second to breathe in that fight. Like those girls were going at it. Was anyone even dropped in that fight? I don't even think anyone was dropped.
I don't think so, but Joanna's head like grew 3 sizes. Weili was marked up as well. I mean, they were just dropping bombs on each other. I was looking at the stats. There was combined 750 significant strikes thrown and 351 of them landed between the two fighters. I mean, it just shows how much activity was going on throughout that fight.
Yeah, and I thought too why I love that fight because you look at someone like Weili, right? She's on a friggin' on a 20-fight win streak. She lost her debut in MMA and just went on a tear, right? Beat Andrade for the belt, and everyone was like, okay, like this girl's definitely the real deal, but like she's going up against Joanna, and she took some of the hardest shots I've ever seen a woman take. Yeah. And same goes to Joanna. And I think a lot of people thought Joanna's done. My God, I need them to run this fight back. Like I have been waiting. This was last March. This was right before the pandemic hit. Can you imagine being a fan inside that arena for that night? My God.
That would have been absolutely insane.
Those two girls left it all on the line. That's why I'm giving it fight of the year, 100%. Trust me, Moreno Figueiredo was right there. That was all action. But like I said, that nut shot really, really took away from that fight. So for me, Weili Zhang, Joanna Jędrzejczyk need to run that back. I don't think they ever will. The division needs to move on. So congrats. Fight of the year. Fight of the fucking decade, for Christ's sakes. That was just amazing to see. And now let's get into fighter of the year, Kevy. This is an honor bestowed by many. I think there was so many good candidates this year. We had guys emerge like a Kevin Holland. We had champions reign like Davis and Figueiredo. You know what I mean? It was just such a tough call. You had guys like Izzy, just so many great fighters this year that could have won this award. I'll take this one here. I think this is a no-brainer. I'm going Kevin Holland. The man won 5 fights in a year. The man finished 4 out of 5 of them. Listen, was it the greatest opponents? Was it top 10? No, absolutely not. But he ended it off with in our minds, the second best knockout of the year against Jacare Souza, who is no slouch, someone who is just a goddamn animal. It to me is a no-brainer. Winning 5 fights in a year, finishing 4 out of 5, getting into, and then he has another fight booked. He's fighting Brunson in a couple months. This man is active. He's got a big mouth. He brings the fans, and I think this kid's going to be a star if he can get, if he can get past Brunson. He cracks the top 5. This kid's going to be a problem. This kid's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he's not only going 5-0 in the UFC is a huge deal. Doing that in a year, and he's kind of become a star outside of the octagon as well. From his conferences, from his social media, he's really become a fan favorite over this year. So I agree with you on that one. I'd say him for sure. Some of the other guys I had was, Figueiredo, who we just kind of talked about his fight with Moreno, but he also beat Benavidez this year as well.
Yeah, Figgy was definitely up there, and I think again he would have won it, but I think him missing weight against Benavidez definitely played a big factor in that. Holland on weight, finishing guys, making his way through the ranks, and that's something that I respect there. So can't nod that. What fighter this year, real quick, do you think, or do you see losing their belt in 2021?
2 of them come to mind right now. And with the Izzy Jan fight, I think Jan is going to lose that belt. I think Izzy's going to be champ. And also, I think Peter Yan gets beat, whether it be Sterling or Sandhagen. I think someone's gonna fight him, and I can see him losing the belt this year as well.
Yeah, my picks was Jan, and then I also had Volkanovski because we got our boy Cater coming up. Huge, massive fight against Holloway. Which if he gets by that, he's fighting the champ, and obviously I'm all team Cater for that. I agree. Bantamweight, I think Peter Yan is just looking at a laundry list full of killers. And while I think he's awesome, Jose Aldo gave him a pretty good fight. And that worries me about Yan. He did beat up Aldo really good, but I mean, if you're going up against a guy who's got hands like Rob Font or, a guy like Corey Sandhagen, Aljamain Sterling's, breathing down his neck, he's going to have a tough reign. He's going to have one of the toughest reigns ever. And bantamweight's stacked. Featherweight is absolutely stacked. So those are the 2 I thought as well. And then, I look at guys. I didn't even think of Jan, to be completely honest. I forgot he's fighting Izzy. But yeah, I can agree with that one. I can see him losing his belt. Who knows though? 2020 was weird. 2021 could be even weirder. He could knock out Izzy. So yeah, those are kind of our 4 weight divisions we see changing hands in 2021. And then real quick, let's end this off. One bold prediction for 2021 that you think could happen.
Ooh, I got 2 bold predictions, but I don't. I'll say one, and I'll let you say yours, and then if the other one we haven't said it yet, I'll say it.
You go first. Yeah.
I got Khabib's coming out of retirement for one last fight.
Against? You got to say that part.
Against? It's going to be a super fight. I think it's going to be McGregor, to be completely honest. If McGregor wins against Poirier, I don't see GSP coming out of retirement. I think those are the only fights that do it for him.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good one. I think a lot of people are speculating there, and I can agree. I don't know. He's talking a lot about not giving McGregor limelight, anything like that, but who knows? But I do like that prediction, or bold prediction. Here's mine. You're gonna think I'm crazy for this one. I think John Jones will be a double champ in 2021. I think, and I don't even mean, I think he's going to hold 2 belts at once. I think he's going to beat up anyone at heavyweight, whoever has the belt. And then I think he fights Izzy for the light heavyweight belt when Izzy has it. And I think he beats him and he becomes simultaneous champ. Just a bold prediction. I don't think it will actually happen, but that's like, I felt like that. I thought about that one today and I'm like, John Jones has a chance to do something like Conor McGregor shit right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think? What do you think about that one?
Yeah, that was kind of how my prediction went. So mine is that after the Izzy Jan fight, John Jones would be the next fight after, and he'd kind of forget about the heavyweight stuff. That was my prediction, that fight was going to happen this year. As for who wins it, I don't know. I'd have to say probably Jones. Probably Jones.
I know. I just don't see a scenario where it's I don't know. I just been going so back and forth, but I mean, John Jones has a chance to shut up everyone and enough people talking about this conversation. And it's just going to be. Oh God, I am freezing again. Can you see me anymore? Oh, can you see me now? We good?
Yeah, you're just frozen a little bit.
All right, perfect. He can shut up a lot of people about this GOAT conversation. I think he can really just cement himself as like no one can touch him. If he gets that heavyweight belt, comes back and say he beats Izzy, or vice versa, he beats Izzy, regains his belt. I hate how we're saying like Izzy's gonna win the belt, but it's like Izzy's gonna win it, and then he fights Jones. I mean, he has a chance to just cement his legacy, which he's already known as the GOAT here too. So I love that. Me and you think alike, buddy. Me and you think alike. Those are good, solid predictions. My like random one was like, I think Calvin Kattar is going to be the featherweight champ, but mine was I think the cartel is going to take over, and then Rob becomes bantamweight champion. Rob Font becomes bantamweight champion, and then Calvin Kattar becomes featherweight, which would be fucking amazing. So we'll see what happens there. But Flatlined MMA Awards 2020 in the books, ladies and gentlemen. What a fun and just unreal year in MMA in the UFC. I cannot wait to see what 2021 has to hold. Guys, no fights this week. Next weekend, we start the Fight Island Express. Max Holloway taking on our boy, Calvin Kattar. We'll dive deeper into that next week. I am so excited to watch this fight. And then we just have a string of just awesome fights. Neil Magny taking on Michael Chiesa, which was everyone knows supposed to be Khamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards. Khamzat had to pull out due to COVID. And then the weekend after, we got the notorious one coming back, UFC 257, Dustin Poirier taking on Conor McGregor for the rematch. Guys, January is one of the best goddamn MMA months I've ever seen in my life. I'm so excited. Can't wait to review all these cards with you guys. So fucking fired up. Guys, thank you so much for the support in 2020. We promise to bring you bigger, better content in 2021. We grew by 2,000 followers in 2020. I want to double that, triple that. I want to get us to 10K. Thank you guys for being so loyal. Click the link below. We're trying to revamp everything from our website to our merch. So stay tuned. We got some big things coming, guys. Thank you for everyone. Shoot us a follow, shoot us a like, shoot us a subscribe on our YouTube videos. We want our YouTube to get bigger. So thank you for all the supporters. And until next time, Flatline MMA. Peace.